Aries crew, come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope you have been having a beautiful week, and I hope the last couple weeks have been treating you well. Sorry we took an unexpected hiatus. I knew we were going to be off for a little while, but it took a little bit longer to get back into the groove than I expected. But we are back, and I anticipate getting on schedule to do regular shows again. So thank you for bearing with me, and stay tuned for so much more good stuff to come on the channel. As well, I was taking some time off. I was planning, but we got a great show lined up for you today. So we'll get into the future of the channel in a little bit, but let's get into what we are going to be talking about today. So Miss Cardi B, everybody's favorite, well, almost everybody's favorite, right? But she's definitely a fan favorite. People love her because of her authenticity. She is who she is. She says how she feels. She's not always trying to be politically correct, say it in the most perfect, beautiful way, but what she says still resonates with people. And that's what everybody loves about her. But she is back in the news, not just for being a big personality, not just for the lawsuit that she had just won, but because she has announced her fourth pregnancy. Now, she is still married to Offset, but this is not Offset's baby. She is pregnant by her boyfriend, Stefon. So we got to talk a little bit about that. Stay tuned. We'll see what's going on there and what's going on with her divorce with Offset. And then we got to talk about Caleb Wilson. So earlier this year, there was a story about a young man who was going to Southern University who was pledging to be a part of Omega Psi Phi, which is a historically Black fraternity, and he lost his life. And there's been an update in there, in addition to those who have been arrested, who may have had some involvement with his passing. His family has now filed a lawsuit. And I also saw that the autopsy results have come out. So we're going to look into all that, see what's going on there. Make sure you got your popcorn, your drinks, you're comfortable. We're going to get into some things over here. We got some good stuff lined up here. And then we're also going to talk about Dame Dash. He was on the Breakfast Club. I want to say it was last week. And he tried to call out Charlemagne, questioning his masculinity and some other things. So we got to get into that. But before we do that, if you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and welcome to Aries Rose TV. On this channel, we talk about streaming shows, movies, TV shows, celebrity news, world news, local news, politics, basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. If you're on Instagram, follow us there, Aries Rose TV. Let us know you are from YouTube and we'll follow you back. Let me know where you are from in the comments, your city, state, or country. I want to give you a shout out. Divanark, I might be saying that wrong, but welcome. Appreciate you stopping by from Norway. Rahal, welcome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Please hit that like button on your way in. It goes a long way to support the channel, and it means a lot. If you have not already done so, we'd love to have you part of the Aries crew. We have fun over here. All you got to do is hit that subscription button. When you subscribe, let me know in the comments. I want to personally welcome you to the Aries crew. And now let's get into our first story for tonight. So we're going to be talking about Caleb Wilson. So this young man was attending Southern University. He was a junior there, and he was pledging to be a part of Omega Psi Phi. It is my understanding his father was a part of that fraternity, so that's why he was interested in joining that. Let me confirm that though, but that's what I believe I was hearing. Take a quick little pause here. Nicole, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you. So he went on to go through this pledging process, and hazing is something that comes up quite a bit whenever there is some type of fraternity pledging or rushing situation that is going on. Hazing is illegal. It's not supposed to be done. Most fraternities and sororities, if not all, have an anti-hazing clause because of situations like the one that occurred with this young man. For whatever reason, and I'm going to do a full disclaimer, I am not a Greek. I don't know very much about Greek life. I know a little bit, but I don't have personal experience as far as going through the process and knowing all the steps and what occurs. But having seen news reports and watching different documentaries and things on the topic, it seems like there's lots of different types of hazing that can occur. And this can occur whether it be in a historically black fraternity or sorority, or if it's one that's open to many different cultures. It's really not one particular type, because people passing away while going through the pledging process has occurred on both sides. This particular one was a historically black fraternity that he was pledging to be a part of, but it's certainly not exclusive to those types of organizations. But in his instance, this happened in February, I believe, that they were in a warehouse, and this was a part of like an underground and a process, if you will. So it's not something that should be done, but it was clearly being done as part of the pledging process for these young men to join this fraternity. And in this warehouse, it was in the late hours, like early morning. I want to say maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. They were in there, and they were being punched in the chest by people who are already a part of the organization, allegedly, with boxing gloves on. And Caleb had been punched allegedly 4 times, and he ended up either having a seizure or passing out, and then he just never regained consciousness. He ended up passing away. And so 3 people have been arrested for his passing. And it just really started a huge debate about, why does this happen with people who are pledging? Why is the process require people to be hurt or to drink dangerous levels or to do things that threaten their life that could cause this to happen? And I think that's a great discussion to have. And I have those questions as well. When you go to college, you're generally at a younger age, and we're talking undergraduate here, not necessarily postgraduate, where you could potentially be older, although I know you can be older going to undergrad as well. And generally, you are on the younger side, and no parent sends their child off to school to have them come back in a body bag. And to hear his mom say that totally tore at my heart, because I can understand exactly where she was coming from in that sentiment. It would crush me if that happened to my child, especially for something that just should not be life-threatening. I don't know why they do this. I'm not understanding how it brings you closer to brotherhood or sisterhood, other than it was done to you, so you feel that you need to do it to somebody else. Some say that they add this on as a layer process to kind of like make people earn it. And this shows how much you want to be a part of this, how much you're willing to give and sacrifice for it. But I truly don't think, when these organizations were formed, that the intent was to bring on new members to keep that legacy going and to keep that mission going by beating them, hurting them, and putting them in dangerous, life-threatening situations to test their loyalty. It's an odd concept to me, but again, I'm not a Greek. Maybe there's a deeper meaning to it, and I'm just seeing it on the surface level because I'm seeing it from the outside. If you are a part of a Greek organization and you can provide some insight, by all means, please let us know. I'm always looking to gain more knowledge on the topic. But that's why we are arriving at a lawsuit for this young man, because his family doesn't feel like he should not be here today. And he especially should not be here today because he went to pledge to be a part of an organization that's supposed to be uplifting and empowering, not only for men, but for their culture. And I feel that that's a fair sentiment here. So we're going to look into the lawsuit that has been filed by the family, get some more details on that. And bear with me while I bring that up. We're also going to see what's going on in the autopsy here. Okay, give me a moment. And as you come in, let me know where you are from, what city, what state, what country. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by. On this search. Just take it just a little bit extra time here. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So the coroner has released the final autopsy result for Caleb Wilson. So let's see what's going on there. We are getting this information from WDSU News online here. And it says the East Baton Rouge coroner has released the final autopsy results of the Kenner native deleted in a hazing ritual earlier this year. Caleb Wilson's autopsy results were released on Monday. According to the autopsy results, Wilson's manner of death was ruled a homicide, and the cause of death was comatio cordis, or blunt force trauma to the chest. This comes just days after his family filed a wrongful death lawsuit in the civil court against Omega Psi Phi fraternity and Southern University. So it looks like they have also looped in the university that their son was attending as well. We'll see if it talks about it more in the article here, but I'm wondering if it's on the grounds that they did not provide safety for their son being there. And then we'll see if it explores a little more on that. And bear with me here. This background. Welcome, Monica. Thank you so much for joining. Anna Greer, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the compliment and welcome. And let's get into the rest of this article. The lawsuit alleges the fraternity has, quote, a known and pervasive risk of hazing, end quote. The lawsuit also claims the chapter entrusted untrained and ill-equipped graduates to oversee recruitment. Wilson passed away after being punched repeatedly in the chest while pledging at an off-campus warehouse in February. The family is suing several defendants, including Caleb McRae, Kyle Thurman, and Isaiah Smith, the three people arrested and charged in connection with his passing. McRae is facing manslaughter and criminal hazing charges, while Smith and Thurman are facing criminal hazing charges. So let me know what you think of that in the comments. Do you agree with the family going on to pursue a lawsuit in addition to the three that have been arrested and charged with his passing? Do you think that the fraternity Omega Psi Phi has any obligation to the family, or has any obligation on the passing of their son? I really would love to hear your opinion on that. I do think that there is some responsibility that lies in there. So I do believe that these fraternities and sororities, and in particular, I'm more familiar with the historically Black sororities and fraternities. I do think that they do great work in the community. I believe that there are majority of the people that join these organizations for the right reasons, to further the purpose of being a service to the community, to the greater country in any way that they can, to helping a next generation to grow, be educated, and to share the culture and history of Black education. And that is, I think, a huge piece, and it's been around for, they've been around since, I believe the first one is Omega, or excuse me, the first one is Alpha Phi Alpha, and that one was formed in 1906. So they've been around for, some of them, over 100 years. So they obviously have a very long legacy of service, leadership, and contributing to the culture. It's just an unfortunate piece that seems to come along with that. And I think because that seems to be a practice that continues, even though it is illegal, this organization should hold some liability. I don't know to what extent, and that's clearly going to be up to a judge and jury, whichever way that is set up. But I do applaud the family for trying to do something. They can't bring their son back. They can't change those circumstances. And I know that they know that, but I do completely understand that in this situation, it needs to stop. And maybe taking this route is something that will make it be very known that this should not be a continued practice. Like, hopefully his passing will be the last one related to hazing, as it is attached to pledging for these organizations. But if you are a part of it and you're familiar with it, please tell me how hazing is any way, shape, or form increasing your brotherhood or sisterhood by hurting each other, scaring, threatening. Tell me how it kind of brings you closer and forms a better bond of trust. I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing it. And let's get into the next one we're going to be talking about. So Dame Dash. He is always an interesting one. I feel like anytime he kind of comes out and does an interview in some way, shape, or form, it ends up going viral because he says something. And I feel like that's just kind of what he's become known for. Not so much business deals or for, he did have a really good mind for business at one point in time. And he was a huge driving force behind, Rockefeller when he was working very tightly with Jay-Z. I'm not sure about Rock Nation, but I know for sure Rockefeller because in the early 2000s, late 90s, those two were peanut butter and jelly. You saw one, you saw the other. They were business partners. They rolled together. They did a lot of things together. So you definitely, if you saw Jay-Z, you knew Dame Dash wasn't too far away, or you kind of associated the two together. And, and then they eventually split, which does happen as people grow and they go into different directions. And Jay-Z has definitely evolved into this, billion-dollar brand, and he's branched out beyond music, and he's got that contract with the NFL. He's been doing really well with these halftime shows. I know I've been definitely engaged with the Super Bowl halftime show. We got to talk about, I think it's Bad Bunny who's doing the halftime show for next year. We'll talk about that probably on another live for the Super Bowl. But, Jay-Z's got a lot of big things going on, not to mention he's married to Beyonce, who's one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. I think one of the last great entertainers of that time for sure. So he's definitely progressed past where Dame Dash appears to be in life. So I could see kind of where that break off needed to happen, because sometimes you do have to evolve past people you may have started with to be able to get to the next level. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's just kind of how it goes. And so some people say Dame Dash is bitter because Jay-Z's doing better than him. And, he's had some financial struggles and things. We all go through things. Everybody's life isn't always going to be perfect all the time, and we all have our times when we're up, everything's going good, and sometimes you just may not be on that spectrum and everything isn't hitting like it normally does, and that appears to be where he is right now. But I don't think that means that his opinion is not valid on things necessarily, or that it shouldn't be heard, but people may give it a little less credibility if they feel like you aren't really doing anything relevant, or you aren't adding or improving things that are going on, to be out here critiquing folks. But as usual, when he goes on to any interview, he says something that catches the attention, and he did not disappoint on his interview with the Breakfast Club. So he ended up making some interesting comments to Charlemagne the God on questioning his manhood and whether or not he is a representation of Black masculinity and some other things while they had an interview on the show. So we're going to get into that because that definitely was blowing up my feed for a little while when it first came out. So I put that down as something to talk about. Let me know in the comments if you saw that Breakfast Club interview with Charlemagne the God and Dame Dash on there. Give me a minute to bring it up. All right, so we got this from hotnewhiphop.com. Dame Dash wants to sue the Breakfast Club for alleged defamation. So let's get into this. Dame Dash had a heated interaction with Charlemagne the God and the rest of the Breakfast Club during an on-air interview. Dame Dash is facing a lot of conflict these days, stemming from his personal and legal troubles in the worlds of hip-hop, business, and entertainment. In a new interview with Cam Capone News, caught by the Neighborhood Talk on Instagram, he spoke on his on-air altercation with Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Club and had announced plans to sue them for alleged defamation. I gotta know what this defamation is that he is referencing. Quote, I'm suing the Breakfast Club, but I also sent a demand letter to Chris Brown. Okay, now we've looped in Chris Brown now. Chris Brown lawyer and everyone that was in the whole circle and seen in, quote, the Rockefeller executive revealed, quote, things is we on the radio. So if you say I got dirty sneakers, playing or not, they can't see it. Then they're going to think I got dirty sneakers. It's going to get into the algorithm. I don't want to hear that when I got on new sneakers. I'm not sure what that may be related to for this interview. Quote, the people that have been effing with me, and I think it's been illegal the way that you've been effing with me, I'm not going to take it to the street. That's interesting. Day remark concerning the Breakfast Club fiasco, because I'm not in the street. I look at what President Donald Trump does. He sues people. What I didn't like is that they were lying. I didn't like that no matter what they say, they were saying the opposite. No matter what, oh, excuse me. I didn't like that no matter what they saw, they were saying the opposite and putting a negative slant on it and not celebrating it. And what I really didn't like is the way they interviewed Ben Shapiro, someone that triggers our culture constantly. They gave him the utmost respect. They let him talk, end quote. Okay, he's clearly got some stuff he's trying to get off his chest about this. Meanwhile, Dame Dash Truth's attempts fell on unresponsive ears when he tried to squash his feud with Cameron and 50 Cent. The latter was not having any of it. Quote, I agree with Dame 100%. It's better to work together, he expressed, but there's a catch. We sit down and figure out how to move forward. I believe we can create a path to more success. Oh, wait. Cam just said F Dame and his fake chat GPT lawsuit, so it's F you Dame, end quote. Wow. Wow. Interesting. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So this is from Hot Hip Hop News, hotnewhiphop.com. So this one, Dame Dash and Charlamagne the God's heated interview devolves into schoolyard insults. I'd say that's accurate. Dame Dash had some choice words for Charlamagne the God before, but things really got out of hand on the Breakfast Club. Tensions between Dame Dash and Charlamagne the God boiled over earlier today on the latest episode of the Breakfast Club. If you head to the hip-hop side of social media, you'll be swarmed with clips from their tense altercation. Throughout the interview, the two men clashed, constantly interrupting each other and traded schoolyard-level insults. The co-founder of Rockefeller Records took some real personal jabs at Charlamagne too, though, questioning his masculinity and that he's a poor role model for black men. Additionally, Dame posted that Charlamagne is LGBTQ partially because he allegedly doesn't say anything bad about Jay-Z. This is what this article is saying. For context, the radio host was wearing a Paper Planes t-shirt. The latter is a clothing brand in partnership with Jay and his close friend Emery Jones. Of course, Dame and Hove aren't on the best terms anymore, which the radio personality points out. So you can imagine why Dame is trying to dish Charlamagne for it. Let me know, do you think that Dame Dash should let go of his beef with Jay-Z? Do you think he's carrying that on too long and trying to keep something alive that he just needs to let go? To me, Jay-Z's moved on with his life. He's got a beautiful family, 3 kids at least that he acknowledges. He's got Beyonce. He's got his businesses. He's cool. If he never did anything else, I'm sure he would not be hurting financially. The fact that Dame keeps coming for him, I think, is a little bit odd, especially when it's been years since you guys have had business ties and the man is, clearly in a different place in his life. So it's like he's still maybe stuck in the early 2000s and hasn't moved past that. Well, we're going into 2026. So I'm going to need Dame to kind of come into where we are right now. Let's get back into this article. So it goes, quote, I'm thinking, come on, all right, quote, I'm thinking to myself, you either got a crush on this man or he's paying you, or one or the other. Did you buy that t-shirt? You went and bought that. They didn't give it to you as much as you say nice things. So I think you're LGBTQ. I'm sorry, Dame said per Complex. Wow. Charlamagne clapped back, calling him broke and a liar for his ongoing bankruptcy debacle. Dame Dash even issued a physical threat towards him after the former says he moves like, quote, an old Harlem auntie, end quote. Quote, I can punch you right in your face like a grown man and you won't do ish. If we were on the street right now and you were talking like that, I would have effed you up, he added. What I'm saying is when you interrupt me and you say certain things where I'm from, the masculine man will F you up. Dame said this after referencing a time when Charlemagne ran away from a group of men trying to jump him a long time ago, per TMZ Hip Hop. The executive scolds him, claiming that he would have took the punches with pride rather than running. He even threatened to leave the interview early due to what he thought were flagrant levels of disrespect, but he wound up staying. TMZ caught up with him immediately after the interview, and it seems like he's cooling off. I tell you that there is no beef like old school people beefing, because they just try to go for the jugular. They just try to go for those low blows. So I'm not going to tell you that these two going back and forth over things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things and in their lives. It was kind of entertaining, but I will be following. We'll see if this lawsuit goes anywhere, if there's any teeth for this lawsuit. I don't know if it's just an attempt to get some money or if Dame Dash really feels offended in that, defame them. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. If you checked out the interview, we'll check out the interview. Do you think he was defamed, or do you think he hurts his own reputation? So we'll keep that conversation going. I'd love to hear what the Aries crew thinks. So before we get into our last story for tonight, I want to let you know we got a venture coming up here. So you guys know I love my earrings. I always try to have on some really cute statement earrings. Check out these when I'm doing these lives. Earrings are like my thing. If there's any little piece of jewelry I can have, I try to have some bracelets or earrings on, one or the other or both. Those are my two favorite go-tos for jewelry. But I'm going to have a website that's going to be launched where you can come on. I'm going to be starting with about 5 products. So it's going to rotate through. They're not always going to be the same. So they may change weekly. They may change daily. It just depends on availability for those. But stay tuned. I'll be posting the website once that page has been designed and we're ready to go live, or you can go on and order some earrings, and occasionally we'll change it up and we'll have bracelets or necklaces or rings on there, but we'll primarily be selling earrings. So we'll definitely have that website up in enough time for Christmas so you can come over and get some awesome Christmas gifts. Or if you just want to change up your style, get some different earrings, try some different looks, experiment with colors or metals, you can go check it out. These earrings will be selling for $8. So stay tuned to find out what that website address will be. Once I get it all set up, we'll definitely come on here and post about it. And as you come in, hit that like button. It goes a long way to support the channel and it means a lot. Let me know if you are a part of the Aries crew by saying hashtag Aries crew in the comments, or if you are a first-time watcher, leave first-time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by. And now we're going to get into our last story for tonight, talking about Miss Cardi B. She had a big announcement recently here. She is pregnant with her 4th child. And I have to say, even before she made the announcement, once there started to be rumors about it, and I think I've seen something with her coming out. It could have been when she was leaving from the courthouse for the lawsuit that she had to go and do some testimony for. And I was looking like, the way she's looking and moving, it's giving pregnancy energy. And then not that long after that, I want to say she did it with maybe Robin Roberts, or was it Gayle King, where she did the interview and she announced that she was pregnant, although I believe most people already knew that, but it was nice that she confirmed it. And what's been interesting about this is she is still married to Offset. So they have technically not divorced yet. And she is dating Stefon Diggs. It appears everything is going well because she is pregnant with his baby. They seem very happy, but she has not finalized her divorce yet with Offset. So let's get into what's going on with that, and then we'll talk about her pregnancy announcement. So this is reporting from TMZ. Cardi B is expecting a baby with Stefon Diggs despite still being legally attached to Offset, but she's adamant it's because she refuses to meet his divorce demands of obtaining one of her properties and covering her tax and having her cover his tax bills. Like, is you cool? The newly brewed tea was spilled Monday while Cardi addressed her adoring fan base strongly defending her current prenatal status. Cardi maintains. Hold on. There we go.
Halloween haunts. First, get into the scary spirit. Next, host a frighteningly fun party. And haunt your house with all things ghostly.
Okay, sorry about that. So Cardi maintains that she dedicated 7 good years of her life during her marriage with Offset. It didn't work. Life happens, and she has a new man. Simple as that. She went on. She also went rolling in the deep, journaling her time with Offset on her future #1 album, quote, I Am Drama, end quote, on the track, Man of Your Word. Offset is actively telling dudes not to get married. It's surprising he hasn't been ready to sign those papers. The album already broke records as the fastest album to be certified platinum and the most prolific drone drop. And the fans have been gobbling up the promo run. Word to her epic meet and greet on Sunday afternoon. So good for her. She's got some good stuff going on in her life. I hope that they can work out that divorce situation so that they can get that addressed, because it's got to be a little bit awkward to be carrying somebody else's baby while you're married to somebody else. I know it would be for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And congratulations to Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, because first off, regardless of what her marital relationship status is, children are a blessing, and that is a blessing that she's able to extend her family, and it's a blessing she is able to extend her family with somebody that she wants to be with, and that makes her happy. When we go through relationships and go through some things, we we take on trauma and we take on scars, and how we address that, how we move on, how we kind of build our life back up, varies from each person. And she went through some things with Offset. They had a lot of public, we're getting a divorce, we're back together, this situation is going on, he may be cheating, things of things of that nature. So it's hard when you're in the public eye, and he was with the Migos initially, and people are going to put a lot of pressure on how well that group does, or when he started to step away and do his own thing because he got with Cardi, did she break up the group, and all kinds of different things. So they went through a lot of stuff, but what they did was they got married. So that was his wife. That was her husband, or is, I should say. They are still married, and they had children. Their union produced 3 beautiful children, and I'm sure they were made out of love, regardless of whether or not they were always getting along or how they were feeling about each other. You don't have kids, and you don't have that many kids with somebody you don't care about. You go through things with people. Sometimes we can grow together, sometimes we're going to grow apart. And they grew apart. And I do believe that she tried to give him every opportunity in the world. I believe she truly loved Offset and wanted to make something happen. And I also believe everybody has a breaking point. And at some point, when you realize things aren't changing, you're going to step away. And that looks like that's where she reached. And she found somebody that's making her happy. And they're going to see if they can build a life together, is what it's looking like right now. And let's see about this pregnancy announcement here. This is reporting from TMZ. Cardi B and boyfriend Stefon Diggs are in the family way. The rapper's pregnant with her beau's baby. The I Like It rapper announced the exciting news on CBS Mornings Wednesday during an interview with Gayle King following rumors she was expecting. The unborn little one is said to be Cardi's 4th baby, but her first with the NFL star, who Cardi B started dating in late 2024. Although the pair didn't make their first public appearance together until May of this year, they sat courtside at the Knicks game. Rumors have been swirling for a while that Cardi was expecting, and baby talk ramped up when Cardi was appearing in court for her assault and battery civil case, where she was spotted walking carefully down some steps and holding her stomach. By the way, Cardi's been denying the pregnancy left and right up until today. She even chucked a pin at someone when asked about predicting any paternity drama with Stefon. She previously welcomed 3 children, daughters Culture and Blossom, and son Waved, with her estranged husband Offset. Grammy winner has yet to finalize her divorce from the former Migos member, and she just gave birth to Blossom back last September, but she's clearly ready to move on. Offset took shots at Cardi's new romance earlier in August when he suggested that none of his exes have done better than him since splitting up. But we have a feeling Cardi would disagree with this sentiment, given she's not expecting the wide receiver for the new. She's not expecting with the wide receiver for the New England Patriots. Things can only go up from here for her and Stefon, right? So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I always love reading the thoughts and feedback from the Aries crew. You have interesting thoughts and we can have interesting conversations on here because of that. We will be back on live Thursday. We will not be having a show tomorrow night, but we'll be back on Thursday. And we're going to be doing a review of the movie Him. I had a chance to see that. It was a pretty wild movie. I'm still unpacking what I saw. It definitely did not go in any direction that I expected. So we're going to explore all of that. So make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on for Aries Rose TV so you don't miss out on that, so you know whether or not it's worth going to check out Him. Thank you so much for watching. Share the live out with family and friends that you know love to talk about a little bit of everything. We'd love to have them a part of the Aries crew. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time of day you are watching. Take care.